Well, whether you followed your childhood dream or created something entirely new, it's time for our Let's Talk About It segment, where we highlight the people and projects making a difference in Georgian Bay.
Joining us from LA is Allie Laliberte, professional dancer and founder of the registered charity Brass Ring Dance. She performed at the Grammys, the American Music Awards, the Brit Awards, and shared the stage with artists like Rihanna, Drake, and Doja Cat.
But more than that, she's someone who's never forgotten where she came from. And she's using her platform to support young dancers in underserved communities through financial aid, inclusive training, and outreach in Indigenous spaces. Allie, thank you so much for speaking with us today. Allie, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. We're so excited to have you. How are you doing?
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. Allie, let's start with your story. You grew up in Midland and now you've performed on the world's biggest stages. Tell us about yourself, your journey, and how it led to starting Brass Ring Dance.
Yeah, well, like you said, I started dancing in Midland. I was always the artsy kid in my family. I did everything, every art under the sun. I was a guitar player, I sang, I was an actress. Don't tell little me, but she kind of sucked at all of them until I found dance. That was the one that stuck that I was like, oh, it came really naturally. And it kind of like encompassed a lot of the things I liked about all the other arts. So once I found that, I was 13 and I was like, right, I think this is the one. I'm just going to stick with that. So as soon as I was old enough, I was driving myself to Toronto. I was just training more and more and more. I honestly could not dance more. I was dancing at studios, but I also switched high schools so that I could dance and get a dance credit and teaching. And I wanted to do it all the time. And that's really what I did. And I was driving to Toronto, I was training, and just the more I saw, the more I wanted. I was meeting people that were doing music videos, and I was, well, maybe one day I could do that. Like I like that, and then I would do it, and then I would meet someone that traveled for dance. And I was, well, maybe I could do that, and it still is never ending. Like I still now I'm like, whoa, that person did that. I want to do it. Um, so yeah, it eventually led me to moving to Toronto. I worked as a dancer there. I taught a lot there. I lived in the UK and Europe for a little bit, and then eventually settled in LA about 5 years ago. Um, and yeah, the entertainment industry is very tricky. It's really hard, but my love for it has never wavered, and I've always just kind of gone through kicking and with a big smile on my face.
A true performer.
Yeah. Yeah, the typical story of it's hard, but if you love it, it's so worth it. Um, and when I moved to LA, it was right before COVID. And during COVID, I remember I had a little bit of extra money and I was like, well, I would like to donate it maybe. Like, I know everyone's going through a rough time and I would maybe like to support some dancers, ideally small town dancers. Like small town dancers are there's like unique struggles, that small town folks in general just go through. So I started looking online and I was like, I can't really find anywhere that like supports dancers in small towns, and that doesn't mean it's not out there. I just couldn't find it. Um, so then I just reached out to the studios directly in Midland, and I was like, hey, is there a family that maybe could use a little bit of extra money towards their dancing or just in general? Like, and both studios immediately were like, we know exactly who to give this to. Like, and it's again small town, like you know each other, when other people struggle, and you're there for each other. So I was like, oh, that's amazing. So I did that and it kind of got me thinking like, well, maybe there should be something like that for dancers, and specifically in small towns. Like we're often forgot about the small town folks. So I was like, okay, like maybe one day I would start a charity. And I just started looking into it, and that one day quickly became next week. It was so I could just tell that there was such a need for it, and I didn't realize how, I don't want to say how easy it is to do it because it's quite hard, like the charity world, but anyone could do it. So I was like, well, if I just like lock in and figure this out, I could do it. Um, and the reason why I did it so quickly is really just the need for support. Like any studio owner we spoke to, any person in dance, anyone, and my own experiences. Like I was the kid that I would jump in other people's cars because we couldn't necessarily, we had a big family. There was other kids my parents had to worry about. They couldn't drive me everywhere, let alone all the gas money. So I was the one jumping in other people's cars or staying in other people's hotel room, and other
Mhm.
parents be like, "Oh, we'll just drive you, Allie, come on." I'm like, "Thank you." And I really relied on that support. And so when I created Brass Ring Dance, I was like, well, I would like it to be that for other kids. I felt really lucky. I would be a fool to think I'd be where I am today without the support of the community and those families in the dance world. Um, so creating Brass Ring Dance was really something that I was like, well, I want to hone in on that small town community support that I relied on so much. And that's really kind of our main value at BRD is community. Like, we don't ever want to be that big faceless company that doesn't get it. Like, we get it, we've been there, and we always really rely on our community. So that's kind of how it got started, and it evolves every day, and it's always growing. But yeah.
That's so beautiful. Where did the name Brass Ring Dance come from?
Yeah. My dad was a big portion of me starting dance. We watched So You Think You Could Dance Together all the time. And we were obsessed with it. We would bet on who we think would win. And I just remember like mimicking the dancing. And that's when I was like, oh, maybe I would like to dance, as my after school activity. So my dad passed away in my senior year. That's so American of me, in my last year of high school. Um, and yeah, I just always, I'm grateful for him and, kind of introducing me to dance in that funny way. So, when I had this idea, I wanted to name it after him, but my last name is really long. And I was like, I don't think like naming it his name, people are going to remember how to spell that or say it. So I named it after his boat, which is like, I was going to say his second love, but maybe his first love before me. But he loved his boat, and we always grew up on the boat and stuff. So, yeah, Brass Ring Dance, his boat was called the Brass Ring.
What a beautiful way to honor that memory and that like core start and your support obviously of your father and his support of dance and his love of you and dance. What is next for Brass Ring Dance and what's next for you?
With Brass Ring Dance, I always say the next step is to take over the world.
Mhm.
I hope that anywhere you look in Canada, in small towns, that we're there, that we're able to support
Mhm.
young dancers in small towns all over. I hope that it's so accessible to everyone. So just slowly growing, taking on new communities, new studios, new dancers, and expanding our support is really the goal.
Mhm.
For myself, I don't know what I'm doing next week, let alone next however long. The industry here is always so last minute, so I'm really excited to find that out.
Mhm. How do people reach out to you? Where can they follow you for more information if they'd like to get involved? Potentially either studios or dancers.
Yeah, they can find us. Our website is just brassringdance.com.
Mhm.
All of our socials are Brass Ring Dance. And I'm easily findable within all of those things. I'm the one answering all the emails.
Oh, I wish we had so much more time. You're so lovely. Thank you, Allie, so very much for joining us today and for everything that you're doing to uplift the next generation of artists. It is so, so important, honestly. It gives so many an opportunity to be able to dance, especially in those smaller communities. We're so happy to have had you. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Thanks for having me. It's been so fun. Thanks so much, Allie. Bye.
Ali, thank you so much for joining us today and for everything you're doing to uplift the next generation of artists.